Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, freaks? I got a party rip ninja launched on me, and I'm very happy we did. I
The
did.
remote. Well, originally Carmen was going to join us because you can't shoo him from all the way in Austin, but he's on an important call right now. So instead, we got NVK to join us. How's it going, NVK?
Hey, nice to be here.
And we have ride or die freak Dern in the house. How's it going, Dern?
It's great. Long time, first time.
Well, happy to have you here, Darren. And Ben Carmen, if you're listening, you should know that the power of my shoe crosses many state lines. I would have the force to be able to shoe him all the way from Austin if he's in Nashville. And you will be getting a nice shoeing when you come back to the Bitcoin Commons next week. Okay.
Well, there's no shooing that happens at the park. If ride or die freaks come into town, they get to potentially join the show. So
yeah, well, at least from the audience too. You know, a good heckling audience is important.
Is there an audience there? I didn't even ask.
No.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, Ben was in 3 recordings.
Yeah, and he was going to join this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hopped into live recording yesterday afternoon. I forget what it was about. It was the Mutiny crew. Maybe it was about Mutiny, but I wandered into a Craig Wright discussion. I was just like, we're still talking about this guy.
That was just because you had to reschedule for RHR. I filled up the whole table with 7 people, and we just shot the.
It was funny
shit.
Yeah.
We had no specific topic. I think like Epstein even came up, and then we like pivoted to technical Bitcoin talk.
Well, I mean, like, because Ben is used to that now, right? So he comes. He was like my help technically on up vault.
Yeah,
because he knows like Bitcoin inside out. And so like he's like coming on all the shows now. Him and Rendell like are so good. Like they help me a lot.
But it's pretty cool because for these live shows at the park, we pipe it through the park. So like the other people in the park are like listening while we're ripping.
Yeah, let's start there. How was the week at the park? You guys had a big open source week. A lot of people in town, a lot of podcasts recorded, as we just mentioned. What were the vibes like compared to the mining meetup last month?
Oh, dude, this was I mean, the mining one was something, right? Like it was pretty spectacular. This week was cozier. Like it was like a slightly smaller group.
Right. So mining was what we're calling the summits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're only doing 2 main summits a year. We might add more, but the mining and the lightning was going to be in July. But then around our meetups, because the meetups are topical and this topic is open source, we do like an open source week, right? So we had Bitdevs. It was the best Bitdevs we've ever had in Nashville. It was like New York Bitdevs. It was fucking crazy. I mean, we had Justin here and Carmen here who do Austin Bitdevs. They were in the crowd. Kerala was here. The whole Spiral team was here. So like you knew it was a good Bitdevs because I didn't understand 50% of it.
I mean, it was fun. Like arguing with Blue Matt.
Yeah, that brought me back to New York Bitdevs too.
Yeah, it was good. Like, we had good conversations. Like
we have to respect Chatham House rules. I wish I could ask about the actual discussion, but it's not in the rules.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna get in details, but
I miss Matt.
Yeah,
I don't think he would care.
I don't think that's disclosing anything because that's Kerala at Bitdevs.
No, yeah. Well, if he wouldn't care, what were you guys discussing then?
No, but I don't think we were arguing against each other. I think we were like actually like
it was
agreeing.
It was good.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good.
And then of course there was an NFT schism in the middle.
Yeah, of course.
Which I imagine is happening at Bitdevs across the country right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Houses are divided.
The boards are taking over.
I was telling you, Parker Lewis is a bit dismayed at all the ordinals talk.
What if we put an inscription for him and just gift it to him?
I think there needs to be a hard line in the sand that like if you're dumping ordinals on retail, or not ordinals, inscriptions, you're dumping NFTs on retail, right? Or you're wash trading, you're doing all this like a liquid bullshit. Like that's morally fucked up. But at the end of the day, like people are inscribing arbitrary data onto chain, and that's our chain.
I mean, listen, the original sin was making the blocks bigger, right?
Yeah, I think that's the most important takeaway that people need to realize.
People finally understood
is that when we raised the limit to 4 megs, Like the assumption should have immediately been, and it was at the time, that it would be filled. Like that was the point, right? So that was when the decision was that was when it was made, and now we have to live with that decision. The fact that the majority of on-chain, or that the on-chain volume is being filled with NFTs right now is tangential to that.
I think people were bamboozled by this SegWit fork for the activation of SegWit.
It was a controversial time.
Yeah, I think people didn't really understand Bitcoin. People understand a lot more now. Yeah, we got 4x block increase, and
and
now we have discounted apes.
when was that realized? That because it's really not like, I remember, if I remember correctly, like around SegWit's activation, I can't remember if it was before or after this whole increase to 4 megabytes. It's technically not like the limit, it's like the weight, correct? The block weight.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were calling the weight because there's a discount on the witness because the witness can be pruned, right? But like people sort of like didn't realize, because they were saying like really it's just 2 megabytes because it's 2 megabytes for non-discounted transactions, right? I think that,
yeah, I mean that's what Casey figured out, was that he could slam it all into the witness.
That's what Taproot
Right.
added, right? So with Taproot, there is no limit to the witness size, where for normal transactions there is.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And then, so on top of that, I mean, Marty, I love it. Beforehand, we were like, we're not going to talk about it. We just immediately went into fucking.
No,
description.
It's the most exciting thing that happened to Bitcoin in quite some time.
I don't
Like
think
it or
it's exciting.
don't.
But besides that, I mean, we've had just really high signal people in Nashville at the park. It's great that Aiden came in. Aiden volunteered to help out. He drove in just to do that and participate, which is really helpful. And I mean, I've just been in the studio nonstop. I think I've recorded like 10 podcasts. This is the 10th. Maybe this is the 10th podcast, and I'm not done yet. So, yeah, it's just been really great vibes. Vibes are high over here.
It's been great to see from afar. I'll report back from Texas. We had a great Dallas Bitcoin meetup last night. I can't even talk. I stayed way too late last night. But yeah, no, we took a trip up to Dallas yesterday. The Bitcoin meetup there was very strong. I think it was if I recall correctly, it was the most well-attended meetup to date in the middle of the bear market. So things down here in Texas are bumping as well. It's great to see all these meetups, these weeks of activities in Nashville going on. The bear market's strong. There's a lot of building going on here.
I mean, like, you just walk around the park and the guys are actually building stuff there. I don't know how they can concentrate, but it's really cool. I mean, like, people actually, you look in the screens, it's not Facebook. Like, folks are actually on the terminal building shit.
What is what's the report on the state of these different open source projects? I mean, you had BDK team, LDK team, Spiral team. What's the state of all those projects? I mean, I think I was telling you before we hit record, I'm very much looking forward to going back and listening to the BDK, because I think that's a very important project. Like, are people beginning to realize the importance of these projects and like what you can actually build on them?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a Spiral takeover on Dispatch because I had a BDK episode with the BDK team, and then I had an LDK episode, and then I capped it all off with the trifecta with Steve Lee just before we recorded where we went live here. And I'm extremely bullish. I think in a lot of ways, a lot of those projects are low time preference. They're very low time preference, like building blocks types of ideas. And it's starting to really come together. Like, everything's coming together. There's a lot of strong momentum there. And then hopefully, people can build really cool consumer facing and enterprise level things off of those foundations.
There's some bank in Switzerland who's using in production, like BDK, for example. Like, the guy just out of nowhere just emailed them, hey, can you make this change? We kind of need it. And then Steve finds out that like it's like some bank.
I love Steve Myers. Steve Myers at
He's
BDK
great.
is amazing. He runs our Bitdevs. And then also we had the Mutiny gents were in town, and their wallet, which runs completely in the browser, is based off of BDK and LDK. They use those building blocks as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting to see more and more projects begin to build on that. And I guess that's the question, is like, you need that tipping point of people realizing that it's probably worthwhile to build on the building blocks of these particular projects.
I mean, like I asked him, like, hey, can you guys add CK tap, right? Like, and just like, boom, like there is like people working on the library, like it's so cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah, and we got a new BlackBerry on the market this week too.
I'm not saying that there isn't a resemblance with old communication devices. Yeah, Coldcard Q1 is out. QWERTY. I wanna be able to type out passphrases. Matt wants to type out passphrases.
And be able to just put seeds directly in is great.
That's right. And so you can
Full QWERTY keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have a keyboard, be QWERTY.
Yeah, so give us the Q1 shill.
Okay, so
The newest Coldcard.
Yeah, so it's the same guts as Coldcard.
As the MK4.
As MK4, same security
Different
setup.
form factor.
Yes. So what we do is we add AAA batteries. We add a QR scanner because now you can actually do QR safely.
And it's like one of those like shopping.
It's gonna like
grocery store.
You
scanners.
point, it scans, right? None of that sort of like fiddling with the screen and stuff like that. So AAA batteries, 2 SD card slots. There's a flashlight because of the QR scanner, and we put a button for it. And it has an FC, and what else? USB-C.
Color screen,
Massive color screen. So essentially, we just wanted to make like the Mountain Man version of like Mark IV. So like, you're in your bunker, like with like Faraday cage everywhere, like, and you have like transactions to do, man. Like, this is not to carry around. It's not for you to like.
In my head, this has been like the dream device for a while, and it's the pre-sale price is only $199, which is fucking insane.
We might try to keep it at that.
Did you say it's the same like guts inside, like same chip setup?
Yeah, so we get a little bit more economies of scale. Like the idea for this device was not like, we're not making this for everybody. This is not to be the slick, shiny sort of iPhone looking thing. This is like, hey, I'm hardcore. I want a keyboard. I want these features. And it's gonna get made.
Would this be fine tuned for like an enterprise user?
Yeah, I mean, they can definitely use it. It's a little bit bigger, which is kind of nice because then like it's easier to have physical custody of it.
And like verify all the stuff is nice.
Yes.
Big screen, right?
You're going to be able to do a lot of that.
All the mini script verification, you're going to need that big screen, right?
Right, the mini script. I don't know what ships first, Q1 or mini script.
Probably Q1. Right?
Probably. What else? Oh, if you take the batteries out, we expose the PCB so that it can scratch off NFC and scratch off USB data. So you can kill those too.
We have Diogenes the Great asking, is there a cutoff for the AAA batteries? Most circuits leak energy over time and can cause corrosion.
Wow. So here's the cool thing. Yes. I mean, if you can't store batteries in it and just leave it inside.
Just pull the batteries out.
Yeah. But
you could use it without batteries just the same way you use a regular Coldcard,
yes. Right? Exactly. But also, one really cool thing is that we found a chip that does extremely good power management of a device for that sort of like when you press the button, turn on kind of thing. Unfortunately, we can't change the timing of how much you press the button for, that kind of stuff. So it's not amazing, but it's like, what's cool is that this chip barely leaks any power. So this thing would last a very, very, very long time with the batteries in it.
I assume since it doesn't leak that much energy, the likelihood of causing corrosion is probably decreased.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have a backup, right? So if the device dies because of that, just put in a new one. Like, it's yeah.
Yeah, you heard it here first. MBK wants you to buy another device.
Of course.
Are you allowed to tease the pre-sale numbers? Or
yeah, we never release numbers of anything, but it's let's just say that we are I'd say like we're a third of the way to already like have the batch size we wanted to have for the first batch. So I think we're gonna get in the batch because it's just been one day, right?
Barely even.
Yeah. People like it, man, and some people really hate it, which is perfect.
That's
so
how
they
you,
can use. You can buy Mark IV.
that's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, congrats on this. I know you've been working on this for a while. It's great to
Thanks,
see
man.
it out in the wild. Can't wait to get my
You
hands
haven't
on
really
one.
been working on it that long though, right? It's like been a couple months, right?
Yeah, we designed it and sort of like got it going
Uh,
the last say 3-4 months.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
the idea has been right. We have like different.
well, a lot of the
prototypes.
things that are in this, like a lot of the features that are in this wallet is I've been asking NVK for this kind of stuff for a while, and he kept telling me, nope, never gonna happen. The amount of times he fucking scolded me when I asked him to have batteries in it, I can't even count.
You know, it's hard to do stuff that we want to do because I share the same like want for those features, but like the economics of the parts and like the safety of the parts, if
Right.
they're not there, is a hard no, right? Like, you know, if the QR module doesn't go down in price and it's not serial the way we want, we're not going to build it, and then the device doesn't exist. And
Right.
then, you know, boom, manufacturer somehow changes something on the tech or decides to like not make as much profit on it. The price of the parts drops like, you know, 4x. I'm like, boom, we can make the device now.
Just from a practical point of view, what I really like about the QR scanner is it makes it really easy to verify addresses. So like you pull up a receive address on Sparrow or Blue Wallet or something like that. All you have to do is scan it, and then it'll tell you if that address is actually belongs to your key set, rather than going into like the address explorer and manually checking. It makes air-gapped receive address verification very easy.
Yeah, because it's serial, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like,
And also like I guess you can just pull up the QR code on the screen too and just send directly to it. But you don't want to go into really quickly what you mean by that with the barcode scanner?
Sure. So okay, so the problem is this, right? Most of the solutions out there, and this is what we didn't want to do, is they use a like a standard camera, and all the processing of the data coming from the camera happens in the MCU, right? The main processor, in the same place where your private keys are in memory, right? So like you could have some like buffer overflow data like attack where like, you know, they make some evil data that goes straight into the MCU, and this is not like a like FUD. Like, I mean, this actually is a thing that does happen, not to hardware wallets, but in general, it's like an attack surface. But the way we wanted to do it is the way you de-risk this, and this is, by the way, the way that Spectre DIY does it too, is you have a module that is specialized in reading barcodes, right? So like that's all it does, and it's separate from the rest of the system. It just sends the actual processed information via serial. And so like you have sanitized data, right? So we're only looking for specific things, and it's safer that way.
Awesome.
Yeah. Incredible piece of hardware here. It's seems like you guys are pushing out more and more products every year.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Like, especially now that the bear market is like, you know, we're not concerned about other problems. It's just like, let's just find a few more products to ship out.
It's you'll be able to sweep Sats cards on this too, right? Since NFC enabled.
No,
No,
it doesn't have chain state, right?
No,
It doesn't have internet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I made the same jump too the other day.
Who knows? Maybe we make a separate version that has like Wi-Fi on it. It's not for keys, right? And then
You can send Nostr events too.
Then it could do. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Ooh.
But this would have a password manager.
Not Nostr hardware device. Yeah, I need a password manager
Yeah,
too.
this will have a password.
I want a
very
password
rudimentary.
manager.
Very rudimentary. Like, it's not meant to be like for all your passwords.
Yeah, no, like the important ones.
Yeah.
I don't need it to plug into my computer. I can just manually type it in by
Yeah.
keyboard, just read it,
Yeah.
type it in.
We could inject, right, via HID. So like we could pretend to be a keyboard and push it for you.
Well, because like my most secure passwords, I just use a fucking paper notebook.
I know that's the way to do it.
Because I know it's offline. But if I had like a nice piece of Coinkite hardware that I just knew was offline and I could just keep them there, that'd be way easier. Then I could search at least, right?
Well,
I could back it up easy. Like, you can't back up a paper notebook.
Yeah, we're gonna do like a free form note taking, so secure notes, right? So you can go and type out your novel
Instead of putting your like seed phrases and passwords in Apple Notes.
That's
on
right.
your iPhone,
That's right.
Sync
You're not
to
supposed to do that?
What?
You're not supposed to do that.
No, you take a picture of your seed and you keep it on.
Don't do that, freaks.
Send
iCloud.
it. Yeah, you send it via Gmail.
That's right.
You can back up your notebook with another notebook. That's the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manually.
But you guys mentioned Nostr. That's another thing we wanted to talk about this week, because I've had a lot of good Nostr conversations this week, and it seems like, actually, MVK, you shared a tweet. I forget who it was from, but he was just explaining the dynamics of creating apps on Nostr. Like, gives you the ability to bootstrap a user base almost immediately, which when you think about like building products and applications and trying to solve that problem, how do you actually get users? Nostr seems like an incredible environment to launch products moving forward just for this.
Yeah, I mean, you have a river, right? Like, and you can just tap into the river. It's not like, you know, a lake where you're not allowed to be in it if it's a private one.
Yeah. And so I've been trying to wrap my head around this all week. Like,
do I do the spaceship bit?
Yeah, do the spaceship bit.
Okay. So this is how, like, this was my aha moment, right? So do you know, like, you have this sci-fi sort of like TV shows where they're in a spaceship and they're like a few galaxies away, and they dropped a few relays and they dropped a few mirrors and things like that along the way. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, some aliens invade the spaceship, and they're like, "Oh my god, I need to send a message," right?
We're under attack.
Yeah, we're under attack. So they hold their little comms, right? They record a video message. Of course, Nostr is text, but this one, say this video, right? And they record the message and then they just swipe it out, and the message goes to the whole galaxy, kind of thing, right? Through a series of relays and all kinds of stuff. It's the same idea, right? You have this sort of like completely flexible network where it could be a private, right, thing. You could have a relay that's private to private. You could have a relay that's sort of like hub and spoke.
Well, like, that was never explained in sci-fi movies. It was like, how the fuck did this message reach the other side of the galaxy?
What is the protocol you're using?
They were using Nostr the whole time.
That's right. They were using Nostr. Although their thing, though, the only thing that's missing on Nostr is being able to go faster than the speed of light, right, which you would need for the galaxy example. But we'll get there. At least the protocol is being sorted out.
No, I mean, I don't. When did it get accepted on the App Store? Was it last week? I think it was after we recorded. It's only been on
post-test flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already banned in China.
Already banned in China.
Chinese porn.
Which is a good signal, but if you still go to the global feed on Damus, there's obviously still Chinese users.
Mostly Chinese porn.
Porn and shitcoin projects. But I mean, that's a signal you want to see that this is actually pretty robust. Like,
yeah, that's why Marty's bullish on Nostr. He's bullish on anything that uses porn.
Well, and this is going to be uncensorable porn too, which helps Marty with his needs there.
Well, that gets.
Did you see Marty? Marty had a bent this week where he was talking about deep fake porn, and I'm pretty sure it's because there's going to be a video that comes out of Marty pretty soon. He's trying to deflect.
Oh, it's coming, huh?
Yeah.
Sure is.
Fuck you guys.
Hey, so if there's any freak out there that's very good with like the deep fakes, you know, Marty's face is looking for a new home.
Well, this actually does get into like a serious Nostr conversation of, like, I mean, that's another conversation I had this week in regards to Nostr, is like these paid relays, the type of filtering services you can provide certain individuals like myself who do not want to see the Chinese porn. And what is the business opportunity there?
Huge. Yeah, that's like, you're gonna have like paid spam list relays, so essentially like bad lists relays, where that's all they offer, right? You pay to get a most recent list of bad stuff that you don't want to see, and you plug into your client, and your client just hides that content for you.
Yeah, and I know you're running a relay. What Andre Neves wrote a couple really good pieces on what it takes to run a relay, and he gave a tutorial on how to do that. But for anybody who hasn't read that, what was your relay setup process like?
Oh, we built Doc Hex was not looking for therapy over the holidays, so, like, you know, men will rather write a whole relay from scratch than go to therapy. So he wrote brb.io from scratch, nip by nip, over the holidays, and it's been interesting, man. The amount of Chinese spam is just crazy. But yeah, we were like at some point with, I think the peak was maybe like 3,000 or 4,000 active open web sockets. Very, very cool stuff.
What are the hardware requirements for?
I mean,
for Relay?
we went full retard. Like we got a bare metal box with 256 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, a lot of these relays are going down. BRB.io has not.
Well, but BRB.io has a few bugs that we know the bugs, but we don't have the time to go fix it right now. So like it's very slow.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because that's what I've been mulling around. It was like part of the nexus of the conversation I was having. I was like, all right, I would like to spin up a relay and offer these filtering services with a Sats paywall. Like, it could be a very lucrative business. You throw like a 20,000 sat paywall in a relay, and you have thousands of people who want that.
Yeah, there's
benefit.
a bunch of paid relays right now. I don't think any of them are specifically offering the filtering services yet. It's just like the Chinese porn probably won't pay Sats to post.
Some of them are 20,000 sats to join.
But I think it's exchange.relay, I think, is the website. Or something like relay.exchange. Is that what it is? But it lists all the paid relays and then the prices for them.
I'm looking
But
at
yeah, I
it.
signed up for a bunch of them. Yeah, relay.exchange. Most of them are under 10,000 sats. But it should be interesting to see like a little market develop there.
Yeah, Atlas.
It's definitely very early.
Well, right now it's mostly everybody running the exact same software. They're just like spinning up the same package. Like
because we were talking about Andre, like ZBD released like a turnkey solution.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's already helpful, right? Because if you're in a relay with all the spam on it, like it's like almost like it's a self-filtering thing.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's what
you're active on it, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I don't really look at the global feed. I think, to me, Nostr brought back the importance of like who you choose to follow and who you choose to repost, right, or boost. Because that's the discovery. The discovery is natural and organic, right?
There is no filters for reposts. So like right now, like if every time somebody reposts shows up again on your feed, so like it's something really cool. It just
your whole feed is just that.
Feed is just that.
Yeah,
but you don't miss it.
But you know, like what's really cool?
If the aliens are attacking, you'll still see it because everyone's like doing it over and over.
Well, I mean, yeah, the aliens are coming. Everybody needs to see this. So like back when Twitter had the spam, right? Like
they still have the spam.
I was bitching out loud that what they should do is they should have a filter that only shows posts of people I follow or that my followers follow. So
I like that. I'm like 1 degree more.
Yeah, so I mentioned that on the feed, and then like 2 minutes later, Will goes and creates an issue on Thomas. Like, oh, we're gonna add this.
They ship so quickly. I mean,
it's awesome.
That guy's prolific.
Yeah, he's a legend.
I
5-5. Two things on Nostr is, first of all, the freaks know I was starting to get burnt out on Twitter, and I was like not long for Twitter. It was my last social media. I said I was never going to do social media after that. I'm slowly just getting off of Twitter, and it's going to be Nostr only for the rest of my life. I think that's my...
Yeah, what's cool is that you can post on Twitter a link to a Nostr post. That's what I've been doing. Yeah. So like you force Twitter people to go look at Nostr.
And then second thing is, by design, there's no blocking on Nostr. No one can stop you from replying to their post, which as a no block maxi.
But you can mute them.
Yeah, you can mute them, which is fine. But no matter what, I can reply guy you. Like if you're a scammer or something, like I can call you out underneath your post and there's nothing you can fucking do about it, which is pretty massive.
So what you're saying is Barry is never going to come over, right?
There's a bunch of people in Bitcoin Twitter and crypto Twitter that are going to have a lot of trouble in a non-block environment. It should be interesting.
The cowards can't hide on Nostr.
Exactly.
But maybe they're going to just use like relays that, because that's.
But then they don't have visibility.
That's great and not great, right? Like this network also invites spammers, right? So you're going to have spammers now responding to notes.
Yeah, you have them already.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's successful.
Yeah,
It's like in the beginning, I was like, they're not here yet. Where are they? And
But, you
they
know,
came in force.
if your post only exists in private relays or closed relays, they don't see that to be able to respond to.
Right. But then
Yeah.
you have no visibility. So like you have to make a trade-off. It's like, do you want people to, like, if a scammer shits in the forest and no one sees it, like, did it actually happen?
Well, you'd smell it.
Not if it's on a private relay.
The wind would bring it over. Right? Like,
well, that gets into the question of like how this evolves and develops. Like, will there be like clients built around these private relay networks that you have to pay to get in, and then the spammers are not going to pay to get in, and you just have like a Twitter like ecosystem without the spam, and then you can plug into other ones if you want to.
I think what's going to end up happening is, because consumers don't like to pay, right? So what I think are going to end up happening is, like, I don't know, like, say Damos, you're going to subscribe to Damos, right? Like, and Damos is going to subsidize your use of a relay, probably with ads, and then they'll push some ads. Damos is a better example because Will hates ads, but
a client like Damos.
A client like Damos is just
end.
going to have, like, they're going to inject ads into the feed, but you have competition, right? So it'll be like good ads.
And we were
right?
talking about this. And then also just in general, like there's going to be like relays are going to also monetize data, right?
Yeah,
There'll be certain relays that just like harvest all your fucking data.
Oh yeah, they're going to feed it all into GPT-3 so that they can come up with essays that you wrote. You know, it's going to get weird, man.
Good, yeah, weird. And we were talking about, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but Keith from SeedSigner already built that bot that allows you to like retrieve addresses, so you can essentially dump an XPub, and if somebody needs to pay you, they don't need to contact you directly. They just tag the bot, get an address, pay that.
Nostr pay.
Yeah, when it comes to like Bitcoin applications.
Have you seen the bounties? There's a lot of bounties for stuff on Nostr.
Yeah, you've been tweeting about it a lot.
Yeah, because people are adding bounties, and you know, they're getting fueled. A couple of them, I think, got fueled. It's really cool.
Is this just another NVK domain shill?
Yes.
Is this your domain?
Yes,
what is it?
Yeah.
We were
bountsir.org.
Yesterday, before we went to dinner, me and NVK were just sitting in the cafe of the Bitcoin Park, and we were just both on our phones buying domains.
It was epic.
You guys That's why I now own coinkites.com.
Are plurals a shitcoin?
Yeah, plurals are shitcoins. They literally start with an S.
Not Bitcoin.
No, nobody cares about the plural of stuff unless that's the definition of the thing. Like, right?
What are you going to redirect coinkites.com to?
I don't know. That's what I told the freaks. So like, let me know. I'm open to suggestions.
I've got an idea. I won't.
MVK only offered me $2 for the domain, and I'm not ready to take a loss one day after purchasing.
Well, it's cutting losses, right? You paid $7, so
I could take a tax write-off.
That's right. I'll write your receipt.
That $5 tax write-off. It all adds up. It all adds up. Yeah, it's so exciting. Like Nostr, Matt, I know we can talk about it. You were at a Fediment retreat over the weekend. The stuff that's going on there is very exciting. Like, it seems bullish. Like there's an explosion of like base layer architecture that you can build on moving forward. That's making it exciting. Like you mentioned Twitter. I found myself becoming more and more disinterested with Twitter too. It's like seeing all the stuff going on in Nostr and in the wider Bitcoin ecosystem is just like, it's driving a lot of excitement in my life right now.
Open protocols, man. It's all about the open protocols.
All about open protocols. Matt has been completely, what's the word? Obsessed with Fedi pool, right?
Yes.
And you're going to like this. So Marshall, OGBTC, just like DMing here me. I need an intro to Matt Odell. Listening to the pod. Fucking Fedi pool must happen.
Let's fucking
Some big
go.
problems with pools at the moment. Fedi pool needs to happen. So there you go. Like you can have a miner who wants to.
I've had a lot of miner inbound off of that.
Yeah.
The plebnet nodes.
Yeah. So let's talk about Fedi pool real quick. In case you haven't listened to the other 8 podcasts this week. Fedipool is so like the idea of Fediment is not to replace self-custody because it is custodial, but to make the trust model of custodianship better, right? So a lot of people are using Wallet of Satoshi and Binance Pay. Obviously, those are, you have to completely trust them with your funds, but you also have to trust them with your privacy. They can KYC you, they can rug pull you, they can go out of business, and you can lose your money. So the idea with Fediments is, okay, let's put Xiaomi and eCash so you have privacy from the custodians. They can't see your transactions. And then let's make it federated so it's essentially a multi-sig custodian where if they rug you, it has to be a quorum, right? It has to be a group of the custodians have to come together to take your money. Now, so that can be extremely powerful for communities around the world instead of using something like Wallet of Satoshi or Binance. Now, we also have a custodial issue on the mining pool side. So what if you took the Fedipool idea is you take the same, and by the way, I did not come up with this. I spent some time with open source Fediment contributors, and I basically said to them, I was like, give me your craziest idea. And they gave me this idea, and I couldn't stop fucking thinking about it. What if you take that same model and you put it on top of a mining pool where you have maybe like 7 mid-sized miners all come together? They're the guardians of the federation. Now you combine that with Stratum V2, and we keep talking about this idea of job negotiation, this idea that the individual miners are going to construct the blocks and put transactions in the blocks and choose where it is, because right now the mining pool operators are the ones who choose which transactions are in a block. So you take that idea and you actually have the guardians construct the block. So within a mining pool, let's say there's 7 guardians, there's 7 different entities that are constructing the blocks, and they're professionals, right? Like they're always uptime, they're running their own nodes, they're like actually running a really efficient business. Then when plebs join that pool, within their own pool, they can delegate that job negotiation to one of those 7. So instead of each individual miner in the pool all running their own nodes and constructing the blocks, they basically pick and choose. There's competition within the actual pool. And then of course you get the benefits of payouts where it's Xiaomi and eCash, so they have privacy. And the way Lightning interoperability works in Fediments, this idea that you can transfer using Lightning between Fediments, is it's an open, permissionless marketplace. So you have multiple different Lightning gateways in that pool. So also the pool operators don't control the exits, right? They can't just stop you from withdrawing. It's individuals that are basically operating and providing you these Lightning gateway services. So you have Lightning withdrawals, you have on-chain Bitcoin withdrawals, and you have Xiaomi and eCash payments. And it's extremely practical. Like it can just happen relatively easily. You don't need any protocol changes. And it would greatly increase, in my opinion, it should greatly increase the censorship resistance on the protocol level with mining, where like these individual miners are all, the mining pools, are single points of failure where they might be pressured into censoring transactions.
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing this off air earlier this week, and I think the idea is incredible. It's like a perfect happy medium between what we have now and the idea of something like Braid Pool, which Eric Voskuil and Bob McElrath have been surmising for many years now. It's like a perfect happy medium, and like the privacy, people have been talking about Lightning payouts at the pool level for quite a while. This would automatically bootstrap that. And then going back to the censorship resistance, and since it's a federation, and this is something I've been thinking about the last couple of days, like, is there just this incentive model where like an individual guardian, like if they are mid-tier miners with a significant amount of hash rate, and one of them decides to become a bad actor, like since it is federated, could like the other federation members get together and say, hey, this miner's being a bad actor, let's fuck up his payouts as like a punishment for that bad actor.
So it's in the pipeline for a graceful guardian switch in the Fediment open source protocol. So you should be able to do that. There needs to be safeguards. Basically, all members of the Fediment, including the non-guardians, need to essentially be notified because it could become an attack vector.
Oh, of course.
Obviously, if the threshold is like a 5 of 7 and you're just rotating out 1, and it requires 6 guardians to do it, 5 of them could rug you, right? So it's not that much of an attack vector, but there needs to be like graceful notifications, like your guardians have switched, and because you could do it over and over again. And then next, you have a full new guardian set, right? But that's very important because forget about malicious actors. Like, what happens if the cool part about Fedimints is it's extremely easy to launch your own federation, right? And why do we need that? We need that because we want to have many different federations, and we want them to all be interoperable with each other, and we want them to all compete with each other. So you could have small community federations, even. You could have family level federations. Like me and Marty's family could share a federation, and maybe we use larger amounts on there because, we have a very close relationship. But like, what happens if one of those guardians dies? Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to just close down the whole.
People die.
Yeah, you don't want to close the whole Fediment, right? And start from scratch. Like, you need to have a graceful way to transition. So that will be included. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of the reasons that Liquid failed to get any kind of real adoption or product market fit, Fediment accounts for those, and is built around those kind of assumptions.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, I think I really like this Fedipool idea. I think it could do massive things for like just the rough social incentives around mining and being a malicious miner. I think it will be much harder, and the punishments could be much larger for malicious miners in this type of model.
Yeah, I mean, right now the current model is like, if a mining pool operator acts out of line, after they act out of line, you leave their pool and go to another pool. So it's a nice soft check, right. But it's it could be more impactful.
I was sort of like more excited about Cashew and like this other stuff before, because anyways, a bunch of reasons. But once this idea of like this sort of like different uses that are not just sort of like creating kind of like a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, now this is like, that's where my mind exploded. It's like, okay, well, like now you have like this thing that can do all kinds of contracts, and like the contracts are ruled by a federation, and
and so like with specifically, like they made it with extensibility in mind, right? The protocol. So there's a modular aspect to it, and there's all these different modules, and at the core, the way they built it out, it's like the consensus code and stuff is separate from that. So anyone can develop modules. There's like a stability pool module where like you get like a balance that might be pegged to like a US dollar or your local currency or something. And someone wrote that up, I think, just during a hackathon, just within a few days, right? They wrote up this module, and basically the way you could think about it is the guardians, the community guardians, in their interface, like in their GUI interface on their federated server, they have toggles that they choose which modules their community have. And it could be like password managers. It could be all different sorts of things, right? And that's where like this power of open protocols starts to come in, right? Because we can't really fathom, what some like 16-year-old kid is going to add as a module that communities can optionally add in.
Ordinals.
There you go.
So that's how it works on the protocol level, at the Fediment level, and then you'll have companies like Fedi building front ends to interact with the protocols and the modules that are turned on or off.
Right. That's an important point. So like Fedi is a monetized project. It is a company, right? And then Fediment is this open source protocol, and yeah, the framework that you can think of there is Fedi is simply a front end for the open source protocol. So there will probably be many different competing front ends that are offered, and the user will have the choice of which one they want to use.
Yeah, God, I'm so fucking bullish right now. Fedipool.
Yeah, it's like,
when you posted that last week, I was like, holy shit. This could
dude, I was
massive.
So bullish that I heard about it like 3 days prior, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So when I was in the 2-hour bus ride to the airport is when I wrote it, and I just pressed, send. I sent it out to the galaxy.
That's right.
On Nostr.
Swipe into the universe.
After you became a pro surfer?
Yeah, after I became a pro surfer, right. Yeah, Marty, I got to surf for the first time ever. I finally learned.
I know you messaged me right away. I was very proud. There's nothing, and I told you, there's nothing more humbling than the power of the ocean. There's no better feeling in the world, for me at least, than riding the face of a wave. It's just fucking incredible.
I messaged you.
Retweet.
I messaged you like an hour after I got out of the water. That's how excited I was to tell you. Well, first of all, we did mention the retreat. I just wanted to do a quick shout out that was an HRF-led and funded retreat. So I do appreciate Gladstein and the HRF team for doing that. It's great to meet in person with when you have these physical connections, it's always so much more powerful. It's one of the reasons we started Bitcoin Park. But back to the surfing, what a fucking cheat code that people just wake up in the morning and then like they just go into the surf. You get a workout. It's like meditative.
You get
It's
the
like-
sun, you get the salt water. It's incredible.
It's like I just wish I could do that every day.
So you're gonna
like,
move from Nashville now?
my new goal is, yes, like we got one more tour of duty. We got one more 4-year cycle, right? And then gotta get a house on the water and just surf every morning and every evening, and just that's such a great way to live your life.
That's
So are you gonna go to Nostr?
We'll see.
I
It's
would
up in
love
the
to.
air.
God,
For personal reasons, there's
Right.
there's very, very strong personal reasons why I can't go. But if it was anything short of that, I would 100% be there. But we'll see.
The Bitcoin takeover just overlaps with that by one day. I wish they weren't at the same time. But no, I mean, sir, that's my goal too, is to at some point own a beachfront property.
Yeah, we'll have houses next to each other, and it'll be great.
Yeah,
excited.
I mean, I don't want to surf gush here, but yeah, the sunrise and sunset surf sessions are the best. There's some points in the middle of summer, Jersey, like towards like the equinox, where like you can surf till like 8:39 and the water's all purple, and if the waves are good, it's just like one of the best feelings in the world.
And it's nice and warm too. The sea at the end of the day, like at the beach, it's like the water is a lot warmer.
Yeah,
It's so great.
yeah. Shout out to surfing. Everybody should try surfing. It's
Dern's done a lot of surfing as well.
Yeah, shout out to surfing. Absolute hangover. Delete.
Last week it was an eggs podcast. This week it's a surfing podcast.
Butt nuggets.
Butt nuggets. Make sure
Dude,
you
at Bitdevs, P, my egg guy, came with a Pelican case, and he opens up the Pelican case. He's got eggs. He's got eggs in the Pelican case.
It was pretty funny.
But you got to secure your butt nuggets.
He's like, I heard you want them eggs.
Do we have butt nuggets on the soundboard yet?
No, we do not.
Not yet.
I don't even have the SD card with Marty's catchphrase. See, these are the two that are missing.
Oh, okay.
You notice how I intentionally didn't say it, so he couldn't take a sound clip of me saying it as well. Professional.
What is the I don't even know what you're talking about. Which one is it?
I don't know, Dern, do you remember what he used to say?
Yeah, I think it's something like "Come rocket."
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should just go down the list. I mean, we titled this rip end of a exciting week.
End of a wild week.
Wild week. I mean, we just talked about the wild stuff going on in open protocols, whether it be Nostr, Fedimint, just Bitcoin in general, BDK, LDK, but there was a lot that was going on this week in the regulatory environment, particularly aimed at crypto. We had the OCC and SEC really beginning to clamp down on certain services, particularly exchanges offering staking services, and it seems like companies like Paxos and Circle, which offer stablecoin services, have been targeted too. So it seems like the regulatory attack on crypto has begun in earnest, and I think that's the big lingering question over the quote-unquote industry is this isolated to shitcoin exchanges offering staking services and stablecoins, or is this just the beginning of a wider attack that will affect Bitcoin-only companies as well? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think this is something that we've theorized for a long time. Multiple things, right? Well, first of all, that all these exchanges and services that offer
securities,
a bunch of, essentially securities. I mean, I'm not a fan of securities laws, but a bunch of
it is.
The point is a bunch of different shitcoins opens up their attack surface, right? Yeah. So we're seeing it mostly, a lot of people are screaming about how it's like an attack on Bitcoin, it's an attack on the whole crypto ecosystem or whatever. It's mostly seems to be an attack on
shitcoins,
the shitcoin services. I think Bitcoin only services will be a little bit insulated, at least for the time being. But the other thesis that we've talked about a lot is that the on-ramps are the weak point, right? The on-ramps, off-ramps, the regulated on-ramps, off-ramps, and that they will be attacked, they will be taken down. Like the expectation, since I first got into Bitcoin was that if I ever sold Bitcoin, you might not be able to get back in. And I feel like that's starting to kind of come to fruition. And then the third thing is that the staking incentives of these proof of stake networks results in a lot of these regulated exchanges obtaining a lot of coin, right? Like they get more and more coin, and then they become even juicier targets, right? And we're seeing it on steroids with ETH because Kraken had stopped all staking for U.S. Citizens except for ETH because they can't unstake ETH.
it.
So not only is
withdraw.
so not only is at the protocol level, they haven't added the feature to unstake fucking ETH yet. So not only did more and more ETH go into these regulated services, but now it's stuck in the regulated services on the protocol level.
Well, I mean, that was on purpose, right? I mean, they don't want anybody to sell ETH because ETH's terminal value is 0.
Ever since the beginning of ETH, ever since the beginning of ETH, they've done crazy different things over
to try to lock up supply.
And reduce the supply, whether it was the DAO, whether it was ICOs, like
no, it's not
whether
reduce
it was
the supply, it's reduce people's ability to dump.
Yeah, and they're burning the fees and stuff. It's like always just trying to like artificially create these situations where like the Ponzi can just keep on running.
But you know, wasn't Vitalik even told everybody that he sold a bunch at the top?
I mean, he has horrible privacy. You could just track his fucking wallet and see when he sells.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an iteration of these lockup schemes. ICOs, you lock it up in an ICO treasury for an extended period of time to keep supply off the market. And now, like you mentioned, at the protocol level, these exchanges can literally not unstake the ETH that they have staking. That stoked an idea for me yesterday. I tweeted it out, got a bit of traction. Is like, what is going to happen? Like the SEC goes to Kraken and Coinbase is like, hey, you need to stop offering these staking functionalities to your clients, and they can do it for every chain but Ethereum. And the SEC points at them, it's like, hey, you're still staking Ethereum. Like, what position does that put these exchanges in? Like, are they going to be able to?
There's nothing I can do. Sir.
Yeah, yeah. But then is the SEC going to be like, I don't care. Like, you can't be doing this. Like, what is the nuclear option? Like,
well, I mean, you're talking about the exchanges, right? I mean, I would say to any individual user, it's always bad to give up custody of your coin, even shitcoins. Like, you know, not your keys, not your shitcoins, right? But in this kind of environment, you're even more vulnerable. So, like, if anyone has funds on any exchanges, period, you should withdraw them ASAP. We've been saying this for like 6 months with all the FTX shit and everything else. But like, if you still haven't for some reason, you got to withdraw them ASAP. But if you're an Ethereum person and you did it, you don't even have that option. So it's even more likely to get seized, right? I think it's even more likely that ETH ends up in government hands rather than getting back to the end user at the end of the day.
It'll be really funny. A lot of times the way that, you know, they penalize the offenders in this space, it's civil, right?
Right.
So what they would do is they'll say, hey, you're going to pay a compounding fine every day that you don't stop this behavior. So like, you know, can you imagine if like they put like a fine where like, you know, anybody that can catch doing that is going to have to pay, you know, a compounding like $10,000 a day or whatever, $100,000, $1 million a day in fines, right? Like, and they're going to be like, we don't have the code. I guarantee you, if this happens, they're going to find the code for people to unstake within like a day.
Then they have a strong incentive to get the developers to do it.
Well, that brings like an interesting aspect to all this. Like, what if they're forced to rush this capability into the protocol? Like
and then everybody loses the money.
Well, the likelihood that like you introduce a bug, because we know how complex Ethereum is at the protocol level, increases significantly. So they could be forced to complete. I mean, I think we all agree that it's already completely borked, but they could completely bork it beyond repair if they had to like force in and rush a change to allow people to unstake. And that leads to another thing, is like the complete logical contradiction that exists in that area of Ethereum land, which is people like, oh, they're taking down like the exchanges, but it's like, no, like a couple months ago you were just complaining because all the exchanges have all the Ethereum and they're the largest validators, they're going to take up all the network. Like, this should be a blessing in disguise if you actually care about the distribution of the network, because it incentivizes more people to spin up nodes and run their own validators.
Yeah, no one's running ETH nodes.
No, I mean, dude, it's like, you know, one guy in AWS. Like, that's it. Like, they don't care about this stuff. Like, they really don't.
No, I mean, the .eths are now all running Bitcoin nodes because they need to get their inscriptions in. That's the only way.
Right.
That's right.
But
they're running the nodes, man.
Their first nodes that they get to run are the
Yeah.
Bitcoin nodes. They're not because they're not used to running ETH nodes and they can't. Or
I
it's
mean,
too
Ords
expensive.
even fixed the security budget. The bullshit FUD.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
back.
No, but I think this might be. I think this might be like
Everything.
the final logical gotcha of Ethereum, where like it's just like it's just blatantly obvious that nobody actually cares
Dude,
about the distribution of the
ETH
network.
is gonna be like MMT, okay? Like these guys are gonna slime their way into like 50 iterations of this thing. It doesn't go away. Like they're preparing the scam for the next bull run. You know, some dude in a basement at A16Z just created a way for them to go 1000x leverage.
Did you see fucking Sam Altman, the ChatGPT guy? He's raising for WorldCoin. They're still going forward with the orb,
With the
scanning
orb?
your retinas, your eyes, or whatever. The airdrop for the world that the VCs have a 20% pre-mine, and you have to scan your retinas. And they're going to the global south and getting like poor Africans and poor Latin Americans and giving them a shitcoin airdrop and saying all you have to do is scan your fucking retinas into this orb. And also, I have an AI service. You know, like, are you fucking kidding me?
You know, like there is no universe that is not like some super villain master plan,
right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there is like there is no angle here that I can imagine this being like something that is not completely evil.
What's really fucked up was there was a whole article about how Sam Altman, the same guy, he's supposedly a prepper, like he's hoarding like gold, guns, you know, which is no harm, no foul, you know, fair play. But a lot of us do it. But he's bringing up, he's scared of himself, you know, so like he's setting it up just in case.
He's biting his own hand that's feeding.
Yeah, someone else. He knows exactly where we're going with this.
But that's the thing, right? These assholes, what they do is they destroy things and then they run to someplace far away.
Yeah, they're bunkers in New Zealand.
That's right.
Remember during COVID, like all the rich people couldn't get to their bunkers in New Zealand because they closed the fucking border.
Those people probably have a lot of Pfizer stock, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they were banking.
They were hedging.
or it's a scenario where he's just afraid of the masses coming after him and his riches, so he's just building the system to subjugate them and like put them in this digital panopticon.
But then he knows he's going to need his gold and his guns at the same time. He probably is stacking sats too.
Oh yeah.
There's another thing. Ride or Die Free Carlos in the chat, just to bring it back to ETH. Said they'll move to Lido, which is the smart contract staking pool, away from the exchanges rather than like running their own nodes. And I think we might end up seeing like another Tornado Cash type of situation. Like Tornado Cash is still running. Like they couldn't stop the smart contract, but they stopped the operators, right? They stopped the known operators. Right. They throw them in jail. Like Alexei of Tornado Cash is still in jail in the Netherlands. So that could happen as well.
I think the issue with that one specifically, this is just pure conjecture, is that I think that like the way that they managed to snatch him is because he was probably taking direct profit from like certain.
But so are the Lido guys.
Yeah, the Lido guys are too.
Oh, then you know, like you guys are gonna have a great time in jail.
I did hear that too. That's why.
Yeah, like because then they have this thing. It's called like a direct profit from crime or whatever, right? That's why you can't keep money that was stolen, you know, like that, even though you didn't do the stealing, like, you know, and that's how they nab those guys.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for that, they can come up with whatever.
Oh yeah, no, they'll come up with a story, right?
Yeah.
The same way that they didn't use like Heartbleed like to take down Silk Road. No,
Right.
no, they like parachuted into a library while his laptop was open, you know, like
bullshit.
Total bullshit.
Yeah, they broke the law and then they did parallel construction and they made up this story
Yeah.
about how they didn't break the law, but they still caught.
Yeah.
They still caught him.
That's weird. Wouldn't have expected that.
What? Dern's here for the sarcasm.
He's good at it, man.
I mean,
I'm doing my part.
The FBI is just an entrapment agency at this point.
I just turned to Dern with like disappointed eyes, and then I realized it was sarcasm.
You know, Marty, it's not just here, man. You know, like the RCMP, apparently not the RCMP, but like the guy who was running a Nazi flag through the truckers was like some government employee or something. Like
always.
Total
they're so lazy.
Flag, literally.
Yeah,
a literal false flag. It doesn't get better than that.
That's the thing.
I
I
just
think
want to say I love that they're called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police,
Right.
like the Mounties still.
Yeah, they have a lot of horses. They actually own a lot of
But just like because they were the ones going after people's bank accounts, so I just imagine a bunch of people in horses
So-
showing up to close your bank account.
Yeah, like essentially they are our federal police.
Yeah.
Right. Like
They're the feds.
they are the feds.
But
But they have like kind of like an army structure as well, like their charter thing. It's like they have more power. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, what we're describing, these false flags, and there was other examples this week, like this is late stage, like alarm bells going off. Like these agencies are getting so lazy. I mean, on Capitol Hill in the U.S. this week, we had Congress grilling ex-Twitter execs, and one of like the smoking guns, you had the FBI directly coordinating censorship policy in JIRA at Twitter, which is an egregious affront to the First Amendment. Like, it is literal fascism where you have members of the government dictating policy of private companies in like a development software. It's fucking insane. They're getting lazy, and how they had the gall to think they want to get caught.
It's late stage fiat maximalism.
Yeah, but
the fiat maxes are coming, man. They are coming.
They're not coming.
Send Nostr event.
Send Nostr. The fiat that's right. The fiat maxes are coming. I love Steve's framing. Fiat maxis.
Yeah.
Right. That's the attack. It's not gonna be like them breaking ECDSA.
And we have another buddy who calls them the fiaticians.
Oh, the fiaticians,
yeah,
huh?
the fiaticians.
It's like
they're not coming
with Bitcoins.
They're not coming.
They're going to break ECDSA. They close the internet. No, they're going to inflate the supply of FTX while money laundering for the Ukraine. Like, it's just, these guys are amazing.
Well, then they're not coming. They're already here. They've pervaded every aspect of society, and it's a matter of whether we can get away from them or not. They're already here. They're all around us. And this is why we do the show. We talk about Bitcoin, talk about Nostr, everything we're talking about, because it helps us get away from these fiaticians who are destroying the world. Like, the shit that's going on the last week with things getting shot down, lasers being like dragged across Hawaii. Like, what the fuck is going on in the world?
Someone in the comments said that they just shot down something else.
Above Alaska.
High altitude object.
Yeah, high altitude object. I saw a tweet. It was like the size of a small car. Like, there's some weird stuff going on. The military industrial intelligence apparatus is leading us to a very weird spot.
People are concerned about a fucking balloon where, like, if you just go a little bit higher in space, like every country has like thousands of
every
evil
country
satellites.
and Elon.
That's right. Like, they have like thousands of like evil satellites. Like, they have satellites like, you know, popping on each other. There's like a whole war happening in space.
They're spraying shit in the sky.
That's right.
There's a lot going on up there.
Yeah, but we're gonna win. We've got the.
Oh yeah, I mean.
No, wait, Marty. I was talking to someone about this. The framing should be we need to win.
Oh, we don't have a choice, right? Yeah. It's for the kids
because there is something that's
no. I like the confidence of we are going to win better than you got to you got to instill confidence in people.
But as long as you're actually willing to put in the work, because there is an element to that as a framework where you feel like you don't have to do anything, and ultimately, like, yes. Like, Bitcoin is code, open source tools are code, but it's a movement of individuals. Like, people need to step the fuck up. People can't just like sit home on their couch and like have auto DCA set up and like then we win. Like,
you know, the fiat incentives are like strong and bad, but like, you know, the good thing is like we also have some very good incentives on our side, right? Like, the NPCs don't reproduce, so like
right.
We already have self-selection happening. It's just like we just need time. Right. And you know, like the people who some of the smartest people are like building on things that like free us. Right. So like it's not like these guys can just like they can't win. They can make our lives miserable in the process of our winning. And they really can. But they can't win.
Right. We'll win eventually. But it's dark in between.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is. It's gonna be messy.
Well, this ties back to what started this conversation, which was the regulatory clampdown that happened this week. And I mean, I think you can make the argument. I mean, you mentioned it, MVK, the FTX thing. Like, was that just like a manufactured blow up so that the banking institutions in the space are forced to stop servicing certain clients or not take on new clients, which seems to be the case with some of the banks here in the U.S. that have been providing banking services to companies in the space. And then we mentioned the clampdown on ETH staking, specifically in staking services more generally, but it seems like the SEC or the OCC, I forget which agency, is going after Paxos and Circle as well, which brings in the
Expected.
conversation of
Always.
stablecoins. Yeah. And so, I mean, that will have ramifications on, so it's like a double whammy for Ethereum particularly. You have a lot of these DeFi projects, MakerDAO probably being the most popular, built on Ethereum, and it's pumping that it's this distributed synthetic stablecoin marketplace and debt manager, but it's really the largest provider of liquidity in MakerDAO is USDC, which is run by Circle. It seems like they're being attacked by the government right now. So you can have
the regulated stablecoins were always going to get rugged. They're at some point they're going to get rugged, right? And that's what people don't realize. Like they think they compete with Tether. Like, I mean, Tether,
I just love that Tether became a buyer of T-bills.
Yeah,
I mean, like, you know,
Tether will probably get rugged eventually, but they're playing a whole different game. It's black market money, right? Like this idea that you could have, you know, a regulated, relatively permissionless dollar equivalent that runs, you know, in the Ethereum ecosystem is fucking insane. Like that was never going to happen. Like bureaucrats just move really fucking slowly.
Well, I mean, but you know, the fiat maxi is like attack on Bitcoin is price suppression, right? Like, and that's what they're doing. Like, they gave all the tools to lower the Bitcoin price, right? Like, if it's through inflation with like financing FTX, if it's like adding all the CME products for you to short it, right? But then they don't give us the spot to call the bullshit, right? And that's the attack. I mean, these guys want BTC price to stay low because price is what brings people in, right? Number go up is how we get them.
Yeah. No, we've said this for many years. The attack has probably been here for a while, and it seemed blatantly clear that it is. Like,
I mean, if that's what the best they have, then they're fucked.
Yeah, they are. And that's why I know we're gonna
win. We're gonna win.
We need to win, and we're going to win. Let's compromise here. We can say both. We need to win for the sake of our children, our grandchildren, and freedom of humanity moving forward. And we're going to win because we have the smartest people on our side. We have the most robust networks to build on, and people are fed up. Like the losing side, the nation state is getting sloppy. They're getting lazy.
Even Castro's son, man, is losing votes in Canada. Like, I mean, the polls are not looking good.
Snipe.
Boom.
Did you see Gary put out like it's like a 3 or 3.5 minute like produced video? Like, what's up with that? That seems like it was planned.
What, Gensler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like your buddy Gary.
Yeah, our good pal Gary.
He makes the weirdest videos, right?
Man.
Oh, he's got like bug eyes. But no, I mean, this goes back.
Yeah.
Matt, I echo what you said. I don't like securities laws either. Like, I'm not calling for a regulatory attack on shitcoins because I think that's what should happen. But with that being said, people like Gary Gensler have been choreographing that this is going to happen for years. I mean, he said
it was obvious it was going to happen. That's why Bitcoin exists. Like the reason we made the trade-offs that we made with Bitcoin is so that it can be censorship resistant, that it can be resistant to these types of changes, right? That there's no central point of failure. Like all those trade-offs that were made were because of this exact situation.
So that we can have dick butts forever on the chain, right?
Fucking Casey.
Amazing.
No, but there's a lot of kvetching in the Ethereum and the altcoin world because they're like, oh, the government's coming after us. It's like, we've been warning you about this for years. Like, this is inevitable. And we've been trying to tell you for many years now, like, you probably don't want to do that. It's going to make you an easy attack. Like, you're going to easily get attacked if you do it this way. And they just la-di-da-di-da, we're going to be fine. And I don't think it's probably their intent was to do the Uber playbook. Like, we're just going to try and get this as widely distributed as possible, make it so popular that it's impossible to regulate. But this isn't Uber. You're talking about financial and monetary infrastructure, which is the most powerful tool in the world.
It's
the government's
U.S. as big as export.
I will say there's still a scenario where you have like kind of your Uber framework, I think, with like Ethereum just comes like the completely captured KYC chain.
Yeah.
Right. There's a non-zero possibility that becomes the case.
I don't think they care.
Yeah.
Like legit, like I really don't think they
as
care.
long as the big players can still dump on retail, like they don't care if everyone is completely captured.
That's right. It's a dumping on retail machine.
Yeah.
The A16Z dump machine.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. They don't care, all they care about is number go up, and if it takes like becoming the regulated chain for number to go up, a lot of those people would take that trade off.
I would say there's a lot of Bitcoiners that would as well, but the difference is Bitcoin is extremely fucking difficult to change, and that's where the value it lies.
You know, the cool thing is, I think that a lot of, because once they dump on retail, right? If they're not fiat maxis because they don't have access to money printer because they're not the big guys, they will have to buy Bitcoin to hold their hold
all the
shitcoiners
gains. Hold Bitcoin.
That's right. They're one of the biggest buyers of Bitcoin is shitcoiners. I mean, look at the Luna shit.
Yeah.
The
Block one.
W Bitcoin on BitGo. I track that shit on like Bitcoin treasuries. Like W Bitcoin has like a lot of coin. Yeah, I mean, great. Bring demand.
Yeah, EOS
Can't stop them.
Exactly. Right?
Can't stop them.
Yeah.
The EOS founders bought what, like 300,000 Bitcoin or something like that?
I think it was 150K. They didn't buy it. They fucking
they stole it.
They did their year-long ICO where they like half laundered their own money, half took retail money, and now they're going to probably be one of the most valuable companies in the world in like
they're going to be
kings.
Years.
Well,
it's going to be kind of weird.
They'll get taken down. The regulators are going to go after them. Like,
I don't think
those guys are too good, man. No. They cleaned it all
they're
up.
Like in Panama and shit in their bunkers, like no extradition treaty. Like they're holding Bitcoin rather than T-bills and other shit. Like
yeah, it is going to be weird.
It's also tiresome.
It is so tiresome.
It's exhausting, right? It's like eternal September.
Cracks me up when I see that. When I see that post.
Also tiresome.
Yeah.
So what do we think? What do we think happens from here? Do you guys see these regulatory clampdowns escalating and then moving their way toward Bitcoin over the next 6 months, year?
I think we're not gonna see them coming after Bitcoin because they know that they can't take Bitcoin, and if you come for the king and you don't kill it, you're fucked, right? So I think they're gonna just keep on essentially trying to chip away at the areas that they can, you
make the on ramps, off ramps really difficult to use,
and price suppression and all this stuff. But
that's
like
all
they
CME
can do.
stuff, like paper derivatives,
exactly. Yeah. And if everybody holds Bitcoin on Coinbase, right? Like say 60-80% of the coins are custodial, they can inflate the supply.
Right.
We're not going to know.
Yeah, there's actually like a direct incentive for them to make sure they still exist. They just don't want you to withdraw. Like as long as they make withdrawal high friction or not allowed at all.
But then in my opinion, the game theory on that is that like if it's very hard to withdraw Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin loses like value. Right, so like,
there's becomes a differentiated market. There's real Bitcoin, and then there's your fake Bitcoin IOUs that are like held in pension plans.
Yeah, it's kind of like in Brazil, you can on the newspaper you have like the official dollar and you have the parallel dollar.
Yeah,
and it's actually on the paper.
Right.
We have two official exchange rates, and then you have the guy on the corner that sells you dollars and is a lawnmower.
Right. It was like how everyone was saying, like in Nigeria, Bitcoin was worth more. It wasn't that. It was the black market exchange rate of their currency versus the real the official exchange rate that's not real.
Yeah. So to mitigate these potential attacks of the on and off ramps, while you still can get your Bitcoin off exchanges,
hold the keys yourself.
Pre-order the Q1, get an MK4. Pre-order the Q1.
But you don't even have to. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like I feel like we were doing pretty good about this during. Like if you go to werunbtc.com is where I put my guides. But like even something as simple as Moon. Like Moon is not perfect. Moon with 2 U's, but I have a guide for Moon there. You can get set up in,
don't buy a hardware wallet if you're gonna store $500.
10 minutes. Or no, but also just like get your feet wet, right? Like get comfortable with it. Like withdraw $100 to $200. Because people overwhelm themselves and then they get caught in paralysis.
No, it's because
and then they don't do anything.
7 DVDs.
Yeah, exactly.
With a 12 out of 12 months.
Don't do that.
Matt, you were saying when I was here in December, you were talking about like a setup where you can use like a phone you don't use with like an offline.
Oh, yeah. Blue Wallet has this functionality that people don't realize where you could actually use an old Android phone with Blue Wallet that's air gapped that uses, like you have your new iPhone or your new Android that's online with Blue Wallet, and then you have an offline airplane mode one. So like I would say like that's a step in between. But like also just like buy a cold card would be great. It's easier to use than you think. I have a guide for that too at werunbtc.com. And
any hardware wallet is better than no hardware wallet.
And also, officially this week was a big announcement is like at Bitcoin Park now you can buy Coinkite products. So if you don't want to get it mailed to your house, you can just come here in person and just pick one up in person.
Is there
Commons
vending
next?
Vending machine?
No. We hand to hand it.
Yeah, it's the full and you get a hug too. It's like it's an experience.
Yeah. You
So it's not-
maybe get on the show.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's not a free hug. You got to pay
No,
for
yeah,
the
they're
hug.
Better.
The hug comes with the cost.
That's right.
The hug is a free gift, Marty.
That's right.
Yeah. No, but yeah, definitely don't overwhelm yourself, but start practicing. It's as easily as spinning up a mobile wallet. Send $5, send $10, whatever. Spin up a private public key pair, back it up, wipe it, recover. Do all that
and learn
stuff.
how to do it now before you need to. Like,
Remember, if it's not in metal, it burns.
yeah. Yeah, I love metal.
Good point.
Metal seed plates are just a very easy win in terms of backup.
It's crazy,
capability.
right? Like it's absolutely crazy that you can have a piece of
Yeah.
metal and it's like, you know, you would survive the aliens. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Fuck it, yeah. Send Nostr event.
send-
But yeah, I also really like on Coldcard the seed XOR feature.
Yeah.
It's just such a simple win. Like people overwhelm themselves again with like multi-sig and stuff. Like multi-sig is great. Like I love, you know, if you're a public Bitcoiner, being able to have geographically distributed multi-sig is fantastic. If you're an organization, it's fantastic. But people overwhelm themselves and then they end up doing even, you know, nothing. Or they overcomplicate it and they shoot themselves in the foot. Seed XOR, this idea that you could just have two seed plates that you keep in different places and you need both of them.
and it works with any hardware wallet. I mean,
And you could do it by hand. You can calculate it by hand if you need to.
yes, that's
It's fucking awesome. And it's just such an easy win. It's just like a 10x win on 1.1x effort, you know. It's like nothing.
It's almost shameful, right? That like if people are not taking advantage of these things right now, you know, like, you know, if you can't help yourself with this basic stuff, like it's hard to take it seriously. It's so easy, and the tools are so easy, and all the Lightning wallets are now like fairly easy. It's just there, you know, like. This whole sort of like, remember the FUD about UX, right? Like, oh, everything's so hard on Bitcoin, right? Like, oh, you can't do this. What's a UTXO, right, Peter? You know, what's a pub key?
He knows now.
I know. So like, I feel like people get overwhelmed, like you said, because the advice is always like all or nothing on Twitter and stuff. But don't
Yeah.
listen to that.
There's no nuance.
Yeah, take a baby step and like go a little bit, and you know, all whenever you see you're running Cubes OS.
Yeah,
Inform
one day
yourself too.
One day you'll wake up in a
Yourself about what you're-
one day you'll wake up in a Faraday cage with a node running, and you'll be PSBTing transactions. You'll be like, oh, how the hell did I get here? You started small. You downloaded a mobile wallet.
You know, Faraday underwear should be added to the store soon.
Underwear.
Underwear?
Yeah, Faraday underwear.
So it keeps like the shards in.
That's right.
That's
No, it's
Oh man.
Speak close to the mic and speak up a little bit too.
Okay.
I can't raise your gain too much because then I'm afraid there's echo. I heard a tiny bit of echo there, and I think that's
yeah, there
why.
was a little bit.
So
Yeah.
you have to
I'll
speak
point
up.
my
when,
mic
when-
this way because we're close.
Yeah, you're good, but when you speak, you have to speak louder and you have to hold the mic up to your mouth.
I'm a rookie.
First
I
time,
admit it. Yeah.
long
second-
time listener, first time.
Second time. I did Slims.
Oh, you did Slims,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, I can tell you that like you can become a podcaster very fast.
That means a lot. I appreciate it,
It's a
MBK.
lot of fucking work.
Advice
That's the
from
joke.
professional podcaster.
That's right.
MBK over here.
I traveled my own mics.
He's got a producer.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Op Vault episode is coming out. Like that's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna get Op Vault on Bitcoin. That'll be really cool.
Requires a soft fork.
Yes, it's worth it though.
You need
We
two
had
new.
a lot of small primitives come in, like lock time verify. Like there's stuff. It comes in. I think like people make a bigger deal than it is, and I think James' proposal is solid. And what's really cool about
I mean,
James?
James is a real one. so-
Yeah, he's also humble as fuck. So like,
Yeah.
if anybody comes up with something slightly better, like he'll go with that. But you know, we're gonna get like 1,000x increase in security if we get something like that on. I think it's totally worth it.
Yeah, and it really introduces an interesting dynamic to how potential changes get added, where when you compare OpVault to something like OpCTV, people aren't comfortable. OpCTV would enable OpVault-like features, but it has a bunch of other stuff too, and people are less comfortable with implementing that into the protocol where op vault's very focused on this one use case of vaults.
Yeah. So like James was purposefully very narrow, like because like CTV is really cool. I mean, I'm not sure I want it, but it's really cool. But it's like Galaxy Brain Project, right? Like Ruben is like absolutely like brilliant, but he's so brilliant that like
Jeremy Rubin,
that like the stuff is just hard to explain. It's hard to understand. It's hard to like play out the game theory on it. Everything's hard about it because it's just so amazing and so complex and broad. Now with Op Vault, on the other hand, it's sort of like, okay, like there's this tiny little sort of thing we want to do, right? We want to have this covenants on certain scripts, and then like we can hold all these coins with safely, and maybe I don't even need to have a hardware wallet company anymore.
Yeah, you just become a full-time podcaster.
That's right. I've worked already on my exit plan.
Living the dream.
I'm gonna get Up Vault activated, and then I can like just apply myself full time to the podcasting.
The exit plan is started when NVK starts reading ads before Bitcoin review. It's like,
it's only non-ads from Coinkite. Somebody has to pay. I have to justify Johnny's salary. It's oh man, it's too much work.
One of the best producers in the business.
Having a producer it's the only way.
It's not the only way. I mean, I don't have a producer.
I got a company to run.
Yeah, but you're a longtime professional.
That's right. And you know what you're doing.
You guys don't know what it was like when Matt and I were recording in my studio apartment in Brooklyn, and we were like a little tipsy after, and I'm just like editing at my desk while Matt's like screaming at me about Bitcoin in the background. I'm like, I gotta get this up.
Now it's like total.
You're not bullish enough, Marty.
Total respect, man. It's so much work. Like booking the stuff, getting the audio. My God, it's a lot of work, man. It doesn't look
okay.
We've got like
not a no meta podcast with podcasting podcasts. Let's continue.
I'm surprised there isn't one.
There definitely is a bunch.
There definitely
no about Bitcoin podcasting.
There will be eventually.
That'll be the next one. You just incepted an idea in somebody's mind. But back to Bitcoin. This is a Bitcoin podcast. We like to talk about Bitcoin topics every once in a while, not just podcasting. This was a really cool thread from the Cathedra team. Disclaimer: I sit on the board of Cathedra, but this is this research that Isaac and Reet from the Cathedra team did on underclocking and really diving into the data of the S19J series, particularly J Pro, to create efficiencies to make your machines more profitable when hash price is low or your electricity price is high. It's really fascinating. I'm not going to try to explain the whole thread. It's pretty long, 21 tweet thread, diving into like the science behind it and all the data they found. If you're a miner that's looking to make your operation as efficient as possible, particularly with underclocking when hash price is low and your electricity price are around break even when you're just running the stock firmware at full hash rate, this is going to be a lot of alpha for you. Like the detail in this thread is beyond what I can even articulate. I'm actually going to get Isaac and Reet on TFTC to walk us through this because I think this is a pretty big unlock in terms of how to manage a mining operation. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. I just threw this at you.
I didn't see it.
No, it looks very cool. I see a lot of awesome heat map graphs.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, sweet colors.
We should put them on the blockchain.
No, please no.
Did the Cathedra boys inscribe them?
No.
We're just giving people terrible ideas.
I know. Dude, people have amazing ideas already. They put farts, sounds.
Amazing. Yeah.
No, but as mining gets
word choice.
As mining gets more competitive though, like let's be serious. Let's not talk about farts in the blockchain, gentlemen. We're trying to provide people with alpha here, and
Wild week.
No, I mean this is obviously I'm involved with the Cathedra team, and I've been following the changes they've made. And they've made public announcements about this, particularly around underclocking. I think this cycle of mining has acutely highlighted the need to get creative with how you're running your machines, particularly in markets where the price is significantly depressed. And so I think that's going to be a big thing in any mining operation, not just public mining operations, is really creating strategies around underclocking, overclocking, and
Yeah,
how
it's a
you're
cool. It's a
how
cool
you're-
dichotomy, right? Because everyone talks about overclocking, right? But now we're starting to see the underclocking, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and if you look at the data here, they were able to get these S19J Pros down to 22 joules a terahash, which is close to top of the line S19 XPs, which is 21.5. And so the unlock
Damn.
here is you just get higher margins on your mining. You decrease the electricity pool significantly, but you have a less profound decrease in hash rate. So it's way more efficient. You're producing less hashes, but your margin's higher because you're using less electricity.
What is the? I mean, like, props to them for releasing this. I know they're a public company, but like, there's an argument that mining is so competitive that you wouldn't even say this part out loud, right?
Yeah.
People have been talking about this though, no?
I mean, we talked about it at the mining summit. Like Cathedra did, right? Like Drew did when he was here. But I was thinking if I was going to Chatham House Rules, but it's his company. I already said the company name. But like there's probably a lot of miners. There are probably some miners. I would say there's probably some miners that were already doing it, right, and just didn't publish it because they were like, "This is our edge," and like maybe we have like a month of this edge before other people do it.
Yeah, I mean, Bitfarms notoriously has a very robust underclocking, overclocking strategy with their farm. Yeah, and Cathedra, I think it was just these guys released this because they've been working on for a while. It's already implemented. People are going to find it out. And I think just a way to get back to people who are interested in this stuff, particularly smaller miners who are looking to be as efficient as possible. And it shows that the engineers at Cathedra really know what they're talking about here. It's a good way to pump that as well.
Sorry for the distraction. My flight got delayed again.
Oh, nice.
So I was just telling my wife that I'm recording because she tried to call me. I told her.
Oh, I got a call
I was
too
taking
at the
some
same
selfies.
time.
I'm live. I'm like live right now.
Yeah, NVK was supposed to leave almost 2 hours ago. So if his flight didn't get delayed, we wouldn't have him on air. But I was getting called by my brother-in-law at the same time. That was what you heard.
Oh,
in
I
the
thought it was
headphones?
mine.
No, yeah.
Okay.
You guys are distracted over there. This party rip where I'm over here focused in.
Dude,
I've just got a
we've been,
producer
like,
breathing in the background.
We've been full on like full brain load for like 4 days now. It's hard to concentrate.
And I got back from that retreat at like 10 p.m. the day before all this started too. So I just have not fucking stopped.
It's been very late nights here too.
Always.
Gentlemen, I think all this effort's going to pay off. We're in the bear market.
I think we need a win.
I think we need to win too. I think we're going.
We're winning. This is what winning looks like, guys.
We're definitely winning. I agree.
Like seriously, like if we weren't, they wouldn't care.
What should we go to next? I think that's all for
we
the
can't
list.
pull our foot off the. We can't pull our foot off the pedal.
No, and I think what we discussed, what you did this week in Nashville, what you're doing last weekend at that retreat, what we were doing in Dallas yesterday. Like nobody's taking their foot off the gas pedal, or if anything, pressing it harder.
It's bear
than ever.
market, and we're shipping
There's
new
plenty
products.
of people that are, but
like,
there's a good remnant that isn't.
Yeah, and I think it's a growing remnant. Are we doing shout outs this week, or should we just save them for next week?
Of course, we got to do shout outs. We also do. I have software updates. I can just rattle off the software updates real quick.
Yeah, go for that.
While you get the shout outs out.
I got an extra 2 hours now, Matt.
We have
like just feel a little more recordings.
we have Sparrow Wallet V1.72 came out.
Prolific.
Yeah, Craig Raw is a fucking beast.
Yes.
I guess he added taproot support for Bitcoin Core.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that was big in that one?
Tap signer
Tap signer
and
support.
Sats card.
And yeah, because with you get an NFC USB thing and you can use it.
No,
why doesn't that work with Coldcard? I saw on your website.
It's different protocol.
Different protocol.
What's cool is that there are some Linux laptops out around that have NFC on the laptop
built in. Yeah.
So you can tap the laptop.
I wonder when Tim Apple's gonna add it.
It's gonna have to happen. I
Yeah.
can't see how not. How else am I gonna go to a shop and just tap my laptop?
Tap your laptop to pay.
to pay.
And then we have Zeus V0.7.2. This has their point of sale update that our boy Evan Kaludis added basically under request for PubKey in New York, so they could start accepting Bitcoin through their Square terminal, or the Square backend at least. It links into all your Square accounting if you're like already accepting fiat through Square. There's a couple other things that were added there. It's in
He
the
also
show
added
notes.
NFC.
He didn't have NFC already?
No, not like he added for the Bolt, and he's coming with the
Is Stats card good
after
now?
that. It's coming.
It's coming, so he hasn't added that yet.
So he
He
partial,
demoed it, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's like partial functionality of the NFC. He's just continue building.
Got it. And then we have BTC Pay Server V.17.6. I think they came out with another release because there was a slight bug there, and then they added a bug fix release.
I think that's right.
But there was also a vulnerability involved. So if you're running BTC Pay Server, 1.7.9, make sure you go and update that. This vulnerability that the original that it fixed was not as severe as the previous vulnerability we talked about. The CVE vulnerability was a less severe vulnerability, but vulnerability nonetheless. So if you're running a BTC Pay Server, go do that update.
Yeah, you don't want your, especially with the CVE bug, if you're running that version before.
Yeah, but that was like 6 months ago or 5 months ago. So most people probably should already be updated on that. Because when you have the CVEs, you wait to announce it until after like a decent amount of people have already upgraded, so you don't tell the bad people.
That's right.
Yeah,
not yet, Logan.
But BTC Pay Server is an example of a piece of software that, because it's always online and it's public facing, is one of the types of software that you want to update very often.
And it's web.
Yeah,
like web is pretty.
Yeah.
Cold storage stuff you can be a little bit more conservative about because they need physical access most of the time.
Well, you want to be conservative. It's like, please don't upgrade the firmware.
Because it's an attack vector,
Unless we say, please upgrade the firmware as soon as you can, because, security issue, or could be a bug, right? Like that could cause bad things, like bad transactions or something.
Well, if it's a bug, then you're really safe at just broadcasting too. Like you could just be like, you update because a bad guy can't take advantage of that. That's just a bug.
But yeah, otherwise, if it's just features and you don't need the feature, like just hold off a little bit. Like always wait a couple weeks.
Yeah, I always do the. I mean,
there's always a subsequent little thing because you found a bug in the wild once we introduced the new feature.
Everyone's upset about the inscriptions thing, and like my cold storage node isn't even taproot yet.
That's right.
Speaking of BTC Pay Server, that's what we use to facilitate the shoutouts on our show. We have one this week. Before I read the shout out, I want to let everyone know I've had a change of heart and have come into the light on something I was looking back at the tapes and analyzing the outstanding abilities of these great men. I now realize the errors of my ways, and I'm happy to announce that I will be cheering on Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. Shout out to the KC Bitcoiners. I'll be cheering loud with you from here. Thank you to Bitcoin and Clyde for helping me see that the Chiefs are obviously better than the Eagles. Matt, I hope you and the rest of the freaks will join me. Let's go Chiefs and let's go Bitcoin. We're going to win. That was obviously a troll shout out, and good luck. Good luck. That's all I'll say.
It sounded like that's what you believed.
Oh yeah, let's go Chiefs. Don't clip it.
We should read the boostergrams too.
Yeah, we got good boostergrams this week. Shout out to the freaks. I think we hit 2 on the charts. Bitcoin Review is on the charts this week as well. Citadel Dispatch and TFTC. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then the rest were Adam Curry.
Adam Curry is always like number 1.
40% of the
sure his podcasting 2.0 show like gets 1% of all of our streams.
Yep, he does.
Yeah.
No, that goes to podcastindex.org. It's not to the show.
But he has a podcast that's podcastindex.org.
That's
too.
Right. Yeah. He has 50? I think the only person that has more podcasts than him is Rod.
Yeah, that's true. Right. And Rod's trending. He's gonna surpass Curry in like 3 months.
That's right.
What's he got? Pod 256.
By the way, thanks Rod for the booze. Really nice.
Builders in Bitcoin. He's starting another one too.
This Week in Bitcoin Policy. I think he might have scrapped that one.
I thought that was the one I was thinking of.
We just kid. I think he has 2 podcasts now.
It was
Well,
3.
he's got to pump those numbers up. He's got a lot of kids. You got to match it with.
That's
There
right.
you go.
1 per kid.
There you go.
Exactly.
One per
That's
kid.
1 per kid.
At least.
Okay, let's read the Boostagrams. Boostagrams Freaks is through Podcasting 2.0 apps. We love when you support us through Podcasting 2.0, whether that's streaming sats or these Boostagrams where you have a set amount of sats you choose and you attach a message to it, and we read the top 4 every week. Go.
We got a lot of boostagrams this week and a lot of big ones. At BTC Brandon, 175,000 sats. Thank you guys for your relentless commitment to doing the show every week. It was a light in a world of COVID hysteria darkness for 2 years. I've learned so much from both of you and can't tell you how many people I've passed your wisdom on to. I stumbled onto your podcast by simply searching for a Bitcoin podcast, and I'm so grateful yours was the one I found. Much love to both of you guys, and we'd love to see you guys at Chicago Bitdevs one of these days. Shout out to you, BTC Brandon. Really appreciate those kind words.
Chicago Bitdevs.
We'll
Shout
definitely make it to a Chicago.
Well,
Bitdevs.
Yager and Shinobi are the
Igor.
Is that how you say his name? Yeah, he's also the guy who does all the Nostr like cool AI generated Nostriches.
Nice.
We're gonna come see you guys at Chicago Bitdevs at some point.
Appreciate you, Freak. Thanks for supporting the show.
Attaway Slice hitting us with a palindrome boost, 113,311 sats. Love you guys. Love you too, buddy. Looking forward
Appreciate you, brother.
to seeing you soon. At NWA Bitcoin, 100,479 sats. Hey y'all, longtime listener, which led to the start of Northwest Arkansas Bitcoin meetup in Jan 2022. We're at the start of our second year as a group and are really catching our stride. It's incredible. Education and relationships that develop in meet space. We have some great stuff coming in NWA, including a seed signer workshop on 2/18, February 18th. If any listeners are in the area, find us on Twitter at NWA Bitcoin and events/RSVP at nwabitcoin.org or the meetup. Bitcoin is for everyone. Orange heart emoji. NWA Bitcoin, I'm sure.
Cheers.
Great name.
And love, I just love, the grassroots Bitcoin community is just blossoming.
Go start a meetup if you don't have one in your area, freaks.
Or go to your local meetup if
Yeah.
there is one already.
I mean, I drove 3 hours to a meetup last night, Dallas Bitcoin meetup. Shout out to Britt, Rocky, everybody who supported Unchained and Chula Energy, Gideon Powell. That was the biggest meetup they've had up there. Shout out to Andrew and his grandfather from Dunston Steakhouse, the oldest steakhouse in Dallas. That's where we held it last night. It was a really cool spot. Meetups are awesome.
I mean, that's how I met Dern. I met Dern because he came to Bitcoin Pro.
7 hours. Let's get it.
7-hour drive.
Wow, that's
Group-
commitment, man.
Group of work. And then he did it again. Twice.
Last but not least, we have Eric99, our supporters here week in and week out, and all of our shows.
And
50,000 sats. Smash that like button. How about bash that boost button? I like that. Bash the boost button, freaks.
Bash the boost button. Appreciate you, Eric99.
He did not say what you thought he was going to say.
He always says stay humble, stack sats.
Yeah, didn't say it this week.
Great advice.
Yeah, I was about to say great advice. I was queuing it up in my brain.
Well, he did give great advice. Bash that,
It's great
that
advice
boost button.
regardless. Yeah.
If you guys are still on YouTube, hit like, smash the subscribe button.
That's it.
Marty, we don't have it on the list. Give us the Scrib sat shill.
Oh, forgot. Yeah, Scribsat.
Yeah, congrats on the launch.
So we're calling it Scrib now. Scribsat proved to be too much of a mouthful for people. And thank you for the congrats. I mean, it's just, so Scrib, we basically started building it for ourselves here at TFTC. What you see on our website, tftc.io, with the shout outs and the paywalls on the bent. We built that ourselves starting in 2019. Me and DJ, or it's really DJ. I just signal message him and say, hey, can you build this? And he's like, yeah, give me a couple weeks. And he comes back.
Dude's a legend.
And it's built. And last year, I think we rolled out the paywalled articles and people really liked that. They said, hey, we want that on our Ghost site. And so we decided, hey, let's build something that allows people to do this on their Ghost sites. And so it started as a Ghost BTC Pay server integration that we were going to package up and open to more people. And then we realized, having talked to people running Ghost sites, not everybody was running a BTC Pay server. So we decided to add more payment options. And right now, those include OpenNode and LN address. So you can easily go to scribsat.com. And if you have a Ghost site, you plug in your Ghost credentials. And then if you're using BTC Pay server, you get some of your API tokens from there.
So what's Ghost? Like, I know, but like just people don't know what Ghost is.
Open source Substack. Boom.
Yeah, Ghost is an open source content management system. It's getting really robust. We've been using it since 2019. It's only gotten better, more featureful over the last 4 years. And it's actually a really interesting model. The company Ghost, they're an open source project, and they monetize via the hosting services that they provide for their users. So if you don't want to self-host your Ghost site, which they make very possible and very easy, but you don't want to do any of that, you want to host it with Ghost, you pay for that service, and that's how they monetize the open source project. And actually, John O'Nolan, their founder, posted their revenues, and they're going parabolic. I think last year they did like $25 million in revenue. They're a very small team in an open source project, so they're going to be well monetized to keep adding to Ghost. So I highly recommend spinning up a Ghost site if you're thinking about creating a website. I would recommend it over Substack, particularly now that Scrib exists, because you can self-host your Ghost and self-monetize via BTC Pay server or LN address, or if you have an OpenNode, you can monetize that way right now. But I think this is just the beginning of Scrib. So if you have a Ghost site and you want these features, particularly the paywall, go to scribsat.com, fill out all the information of your Ghost site, and whatever payment processor you're using, that'll be automatically implemented. But that's one thing I think there's a bigger business opportunity here, because what we noticed when we were like, all right, now everybody's running a server, let's add other payment options, is that particular like middleware service can be very useful across the web. So we're going to add more wallets, more payment processors to the list. River and Striker on there, LM Bits is on there. And if you guys want any other Bitcoin payment processors that you're using included, reach out to us, scribsat@tftc.io. We'll put that on the roadmap to get it out as well. But I think in the future, yes, this is focused on Ghost now. We'll perfect it with Ghost, but I think we can package this up and bring it to other sites too. So instead of a company like Substack partnering with OpenNode to do Bitcoin payments, like at the end of the day, their end users have different ways in which they like to receive Bitcoin. So maybe you can create like a product that says, all right, instead of just partnering with OpenNode, give your end users the option to pick how they want the Bitcoin sent to them that way. That's how I'm thinking of it right now. But
Marty, I have a question for you. The paywall is one option. We've seen you do it in the Bent. Like MVK is now a podcaster. I've decided that I'm going to be a blogger. So like I have discrete log, but I don't like paywalls. I saw you said Scrib is also going to support like inline donations. Is that supported yet, or is that
not yet? That's the next thing on the roadmap is donations button. Again, this is DJ. DJ's built. Shout out to DJ. He's built this all himself. He's got a full-time job at a big tech firm.
He's fucking awesome.
And he does this in his off hours.
At DJ Seeds on Twitter. Go follow him.
At DJ_Seeds.
Fuck.
And so
I tried.
His time resources are limited, but yeah, that's the next thing on the list on top of Strike and River integration. Then we'll add subscriptions, which is a bit of a heavier lift. But yeah, donations will be there, and we're toying around the idea of adding a boost button as well.
Subscriptions, first of all, I haven't said mandibles yet today, by the way. Everything is mandibles. Subscriptions is because I'm going to say my other meme word now, which is it could be a very good use case for Fediments. Like I could see an interesting subscription model where push payments on
as long as it's on Nostr is okay.
Yeah, Nostr plus
you gotta
Nostr plus Fediments plus
Ghost
plus mandibles, and then you can have subscription payments. Ghost is a really cool open source business model. I like the idea that they monetize by hosting, but you can self-host really easily. And you can also migrate. If you start with them, you can always migrate to self-hosting very easily, which is pretty...
That used to be a very common business model for this kind of open source. Like Discord was like that at the beginning.
I don't think Discord was ever open source.
Yeah, it was.
It definitely isn't now.
No?
No.
Yeah, it definitely used to be. And you could like run your own and it was more forum like than sort of Slack like.
Yeah.
Matrix is like that.
Okay.
Right? Matrix, you can self-host a Matrix server, but
Mastodon.
But most
is
people
like
just
that.
use like matrix.org.
Yeah, Mastodon offers hosting. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like so like Ghost has that good business model where Ghost suffers, and why I think Substack's gotten a lot more of the market share in recent years is because they have that great curation on Substack. Like it's really easy to find different types
Discovery.
of content.
But
yeah,
it was also like
buzzword is discovery.
a great exit of Medium, which was fully cucked. With,
yeah.
Paywalls.
No,
Yeah.
also you can't post stuff there. Like I mean, like they curate who's allowed to have a Medium.
Yeah. But I think we're also toying around with that idea with Scrib. Is just due to the way the nature of the Ghost integration works, we'll be able to aggregate content of people producing content and monetizing via Scrib. So we're going to try and work in like a competing curation discovery model for people writing on Ghost too, to help incentivize.
Are you guys
people
gonna
to
do
use Ghost.
email? Does Ghost do email?
Well, anyway,
Yeah,
yes,
they do
it does.
newsletters.
It's Substack, but open source.
Yeah,
The proud of you, brother. Proud of DJ. I'm glad you launched it. It's been a long time coming, and
Thank you, sir.
And also, good thing you have me because you would have completely forgot to shill it.
Well, I appreciate you bringing it up. And yeah, it's a little rough around the edges now. Again, DJ's a one-man team. I still haven't learned how to code, but I think we're going to be putting more effort into this moving forward. So be on the lookout for that. Scriptsat.com. We have a clip that we should end it with. That I put in.
Before we end it with the clip, is the clip related to Scrib?
No.
Can we just talk about local Bitcoin shutting down?
Oh yes, we should talk about that. Yes. All right.
Local Bitcoins, after a decade, is shutting down. It was one of the original P2P ways to trade Bitcoin and fiat. They really effectively kind of shut down when they added KYC a few years ago. But it's definitely an end of an era, and they deserve an RIP. Fortunately, we do have, we have Peach, we have RoboSats, we have HODL HODL. There's a bunch of different Telegram bots, Bisq, obviously. So there are a lot of, other projects.
The mission continues.
Yeah, the mission continues. Pax will still exist, but that is KYC, but it's very similar to the local Bitcoins kind of interface kind of model. And then I have one more. I have my own shill, which is Freedom Money episode 2 came out. So if you search Freedom Money in YouTube, it'll come up. That was with Roya, who's an absolutely amazing Afghani woman, who's a tech entrepreneur, and she's fighting the good fight. So
it's a good show.
Definitely give it a listen. She's awesome. And the first one was with GG.
GG. The memes that came out of the GG episode.
He was wearing a well, he didn't bring his green suit with him, and I asked him to do me a favor and join me on the show. So he wore a pillowcase. He couldn't see me the whole episode. He just pretended to make eye contact. He had no idea where he was looking.
It's funny.
Okay, you wanna roll the clip?
Yeah, I do want to say RIP local Bitcoins.
End of an era.
End of an era is right. I mean, they got cucked years ago with the KYC stuff, but they held on for as long as they could. All right, there's a clip. Is Gary Gensler, a fifth column Bitcoiner.
Morning. There's a phrase online where they say, "Tell it to me like I'm 5." So for those who are uninitiated into what happened here, tell it to me like I'm 5. What was Kraken doing, and what was the problem that you were trying to solve?
Andrew, what Kraken was doing was asking the American public for their coins, crypto tokens, and saying, I'll give you a return, 4% to 21% returns. And the problem was they were not disclosing to the investing public the risk that the investing public was entering into. And we have a basic bargain in the United States since the 1930s. You can take whatever risks you want. Companies like Kraken can offer investment contracts and investment schemes, but they have to have full fair, and truthful disclosure. And this puts the investors who watch your program in a better position. That's our basic bargain. They were not complying with that basic law.
So how does this, though, differ, for example, from some of the other firms out there, including Coinbase, who offer yield products?
Whether you call it, the labels don't matter. Long ago, Supreme Court Justice Marshall said this so eloquently. It's not about the labels, it's about the underlying economics. And this really should put everyone on notice in this marketplace, whether you call it lend, whether you call it earn, whether you call it yield, whether you offer what's called an annual percentage yield, APY, that doesn't matter. If somebody's taking their tokens and transferring it to that platform, the platform controls it. And guess what happens if they go bankrupt? You stand in line at the bankruptcy court. There's a saying in crypto that says, not your keys, not your coins. So those other platforms should take note of this and seek to come into compliance, do the proper disclosures and registration.
All right, that's it.
And the like.
Okay, so
I thought it was going to be like a 10-second clip, but it turned out to be 3 minutes.
I mean, why was that a good? I guess because he said, "Not your keys, not your coins."
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He's just
Yeah.
teaching everybody to have Bitcoin instead of crappy yield stuff.
Not your keys, they're Gensler's coins.
That's
Right? No, is he like trying to signal something there? Like, hey, we don't want you guys holding this stuff on exchanges. Get it off. Is he fifth column? I don't know.
No.
No.
How's that?
What do we got? Closing
the
thoughts
answer.
on the long week in Nashville. What are you guys thinking?
MBK, final thoughts.
Matt, final thoughts. No. Man, it was awesome. Second time here at the park. You guys built something special here. It's really cool. Vibes are right. They're great. No scammers. It's like just like high signal, you know, like everybody's building cool shit. I still don't know how they managed to concentrate. The facility is fucking amazing. It really is. I mean, like this is like really nice. Yeah, man, just thanks for having me. Like, you know, these guys are great hosts.
Appreciate you, brother. Darren, final thoughts.
Get your ass to Bitcoin Park. If you can't get to Bitcoin Park, get your ass to your local meetup.
Appreciate that. I love you, Marty. I love you, Logan. Stay humble, stack sets.
Peace and love, free.